Welcome to Football with Cheese. So this video is going to be about the AFC North and the NFC North. I'm going to go over what I think is the best move and maybe the most questionable move. So make sure you are subscribed so you never miss a video. You never know when I'm just going to do an instant reaction if something crazy happens. So if you have not seen the AFC West or the NFC West video, I'll link it in a box up here at the end. Before we get started, Cooper Kupp, please sign with someone. Please. He's holding up these videos because whoever he signs with, it can completely change my perspective on how they did in free agency. Hopefully soon. We're going to start with the Baltimore Ravens. We'll do the AFC first. My favorite move, let me get them pulled up. Easy. Re-signing Ronnie Stanley. 3 years, $60 million. Got to have a left tackle in the NFL. It doesn't matter how mobile your quarterback is. Lamar Jackson needs someone to protect his blind side. Good move. Stanley gets hurt a lot, but when he's there, he's a terrific pass protector. Most questionable move, signing DeAndre Hopkins. I know it's only 1 year, $5 million, but Hopkins did not look very good for the Chiefs. Looked slow, didn't separate much. He used to be an amazing receiver. It just looks like he's at the end. It's not much money, but you can find a guy in the mid-rounds that can have more of an impact, in my opinion, than DeAndre Hopkins. Next up, we have Pittsburgh Steelers. So Pittsburgh, if the computer will work. There we go. Pittsburgh, they're in a holding pattern because we don't know what they're going to do at quarterback. We don't know if Aaron Rodgers is going to go there. And what if he signs the Giants and Russell Wilson signs with like Cleveland? What do they do then? They're going to roll with Mason Rudolph, who's a solid backup, but not a starter. So questionable move, maybe not addressing quarterback yet. I don't know. Best move, probably adding DK Metcalf. Yeah, you gave up a second-round pick, had to pay him $30 million a year, but they need another weapon on offense. Metcalf is only 27 years old, right in his prime. I guess the most questionable move is probably Metcalf as well, because you gave up a second-round pick. And late second-round pick's a really good spot for wide receivers. You can get number one wide receivers in that area. Metcalf was drafted in that area. Pickens or other receivers drafted in that area. So I guess the answer to the best and most questionable is both DK Metcalf for the Steelers. So, Cincinnati Bengals. Every year there's a lot of questionable things with that organization. Best move, Mike Gesicki, getting him back. Good receiving tight end, 3-year, $25 million deal. They need a third option. The rumor is they're progressing on contract extensions for both T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. Good move. What a combo. So you have to have a third option, though. And those receivers can clear space, and you can hit Gesicki underneath, and he's good after the catch. Questionable move? There's a few here. I'm going to go TJ Slayton, 2 years, $15 million. That's a big overpay. TJ Slayton's a nose tackle, 330-plus pounds. And he has 3 or 4 games a year where he looks like a starting nose tackle. He looks good. And then the rest of the year, he's a liability out there. He's just a bad player. His technique is poor. He plays way too high. He's not a very good run stuffer for that size. So they're taking a chance on him. He's talented, but has not been productive for Green Bay much. And coming off his worst year, in my opinion. Let's go to the Cleveland Browns. Browns are just stuck with that Deshaun Watson contract. The worst contract in NFL history. Probably the worst trade in NFL history. My dad pointed out, Albert Hainsworth, thank you, Browns, for giving Deshaun Watson $250 million, all guaranteed. I no longer have the worst contract in NFL history. Best move, got to be keeping Myles Garrett, winning that battle with him. He wanted out. He wanted a meeting with the owner. They refused. They had to pay him more than $40 million a year, but you keep one of the best players in the NFL, one of the best probably 10 edge rushers to ever do it. So that's probably their best move. You got to keep him. You're not going to get the value if you trade him. 2 first-round picks, you're not going to get a player worth of Garrett with those picks. Because, look, he was the first overall pick in the draft. There's a reason why. And most questionable move, why did you give up draft capital for Kenny Pickett? Kenny Pickett was a first-round bust of the Steelers. He probably should have been a day 3 pick. No, he should have been a day 3 pick. He's a solid backup at best. I just don't know why you give up any draft capital for a backup quarterback you can find probably in the late rounds of this draft, because it's a good backup quarterback draft. I don't get giving up a 5th-round pick for Kenny Pickett. So that is the AFC North. NFC North, we're going to start with the Detroit Lions. Let's pull them up here. Got to be DJ Reed, the cornerback from the Jets, 3 years, $48 million. Corner was a need for the Lions. They lost Carlton Davis, and Terrion Arnold, their first-round pick from last year, was a disappointment. They're hoping he takes the next step next year, but he struggled, and teams started really picking on him as the season went on. Most questionable signings, I think it's Derek Barnes, 3 years, $25 million, off-ball linebacker who's been hurt. He missed most of the year. And if you see my off-ball linebacker video, I'll link it at the end, along with the AFC West, NFC West. I don't believe in paying off-ball linebackers unless they're elite, like Fred Warner or Zach Bond. Because you can find them in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th round. Good ones. Maybe not great ones, but good ones. And he's the 2nd best linebacker on the team. Jack Campbell is a better player. So that was surprising. Minnesota Vikings. Best move, probably getting better on the offensive line. They're going to move on from Garrett Bradbury. He's a below-average center at best. And Ed Ingram, they traded away to the Texans. Why would you trade for Ed Ingram? He is not a very good guard. And they upgraded both positions. They signed Ryan Kelly. He's past his prime. He's not really a Pro Bowl anymore. He's solid. He's okay. But he's better than Bradbury. And then they signed Will Freeze from the Colts. He missed time with some injuries, but when he's on the field, he's very good. One of the most underrated guards in the game. So they've upgraded both those positions. Sam Darnold's like, why couldn't you upgrade it before last year? Because in that playoff game against the Rams, that young defensive line for Los Angeles just destroyed those two players, Ingram and Bradbury. And Sam Darnold had a terrible game, and he had pressure in his face early and often. So, questionable move for the Vikings. This is probably not a popular opinion, but signing defensive tackles that are no longer in their 20s. Javon Hargrave is 32, 2 years, $30 million. He's still a solid player. He's not the player he used to be. So that one I don't mind as much. But giving Jonathan Allen 3 years, $51 million, who's way past his prime, he's been hurt a lot, and when he's out there, he's just not productive like he used to be. He's not the same player, not even close. And some people were suggesting on NFL Network that the Vikings are trying to copy the Eagles by getting better on both lines. The Eagles don't go out and sign all their linemen on either side of the ball. They draft them, and they draft them early and often. So they're not copying the Eagles. They're signing older players. Yes, they're better at defensive tackle. Yes, they're better in the offensive line. But it's risky to sign guys over 30 in free agency. So that's the most questionable move, in my opinion, for the Vikings. Green Bay Packers. The best move is probably re-signing their kicker, but we're not going to talk about kickers. So I'll go with signing Nate Hobbs from the Raiders, the corner. He's versatile. He can play inside. He can play outside. He's probably better in the slot than anything. The rumor is Green Bay is on early downs going to play him outside and then bring him in the slot on passing downs. He's a really good blitzer as well, so it's perfect for the slot. He's a high character individual. He has a connection with the Packers. The special teams coach, Rick Bisaccio, used to be the interim head coach of the Raiders. And they brought some Raiders guys over, and they've worked out, both on the field and in the locker room. Keyshawn Nixon and especially Josh Jacobs. Nate Hobbs, to me, is a perfect fit for Jeff Hafley's defense. He's more of a number 2 corner. They still need to add number 1 corner in the draft if they move on from Jair Alexander. They might not now. Most questionable move, maybe signing Aaron Banks to play left guard. Now, he does upgrade their offensive line and makes their line better at run blocking than it was last year. But he's only had one good season this past year. He was pretty average before that. And 4 years, $77 million is a lot to pay. I know that's a going rate for a guard, but that is a lot to pay. So, little surprised by that. I like the player. Like I said, it upgrades their offensive line. The one good thing the Packers did was they structured the contract where they can get out of it after 1 year. His cap number will spike in year 2, so they can get out of it. They'll have some dead money, but it won't destroy their cap if he's just bad this year. So Green Bay, solid offseason, filled 2 big needs in the offensive line and corner. Chicago Bears, best move, probably getting center Drew Dahlman. They needed a center. He's really good run blocker. Ben Johnson, the new head coach, clearly wants to run the ball. And most questionable move, Jonah Jackson, another good run blocker, but he's a liability in the passing game. You traded for him, gave it draft capital, and you gave him a 1-year extension. Really shocked by that. He did not fit the Rams' offense at all. He was benched. And really only had 1 good year, his last year with Detroit. So that's the questionable move. But their offensive line is for sure upgraded. Obviously, Joe Thuney I could have mentioned as well. So who did the best? In the AFC North, I'm going to lean the Ravens. Pittsburgh, I don't know what they're going to do at quarterback yet. So I'll say for now the Ravens did the best. In the NFC North, believe it or not, I'm going to go Vikings for a few reasons. They got better on the offensive line. They got better on the defensive line. But I think the main reason is they let Sam Darnold go. It could be bad, could be good. But if they paid him 3 years, $100 million, like the Seahawks did, and then J.J. McCarthy's better, then you'd have an Atlanta Falcons situation where you're stuck with a quarterback you're paying a ton of money to ride the bench. And I believe in J.J. McCarthy. I think he's going to be a very good quarterback. So I think Minnesota did the best. Most people on the TV, they're going to say the Bears. Everyone's going to say the Bears. So I would say the Vikings did better than the Bears, at least so far. We'll see. It's not quite over yet. If you have not subscribed, do so now. Hit the bell for notifications so you never miss a video. You never know when a video could just pop up out of nowhere. Something big happens. Like this video. Likes help the channel so much. Comment down below. Any of these 8 teams, what do you think was the best and worst move? Check out these videos. One's about off-ball linebacker. The other one is about the AFC West, NFC West. Next, I'm going to do the NFC East and AFC East. We'll save the South for last. So, share this video on anyone who loves football. And enjoy your Friday. I'll see you in the next one.